The most powerful things about any culture are usually the ones nobody ever talks about. The habits so deeply normal that the people doing them every day never even stop to notice. Korea is absolutely full of these small, endlessly repeated behaviors that quietly smooth out daily life, protect health, and hold relationships together, all without anyone ever pausing to call them clever or wise. You will not find them displayed in a museum or shown off at a glossy tech showcase. You find them instead in living rooms, on crowded subways, and around busy dinner tables. Here are 13 genius Korean habits that quietly fix daily life, one small repeated motion at a time. First, the shoes come off at the door. Every Korean home has a small, slightly sunken entry space where outdoor shoes stop and the clean interior begins. It keeps the floors genuinely spotless, leaves the dirt, grime, and germs of the city street firmly outside, and turns the home into a truly separate, restful refuge from the world. It is quite possibly the simplest hygiene rule on earth, costing nothing and requiring no equipment, and yet it completely changes the entire feel, smell, and cleanliness of a house. Second, the poly instinct, meaning quickly. Koreans carry a deep cultural impatience with anything slow, clumsy, or wasteful, and it quietly shows up everywhere, in fast service, fast delivery, and fast, decisive problem solving. It can feel intense to an outsider at first, almost restless, but it also means that things actually get done, lines keep moving, and nobody simply accepts a broken system as permanent and unchangeable. Enormous amounts of collective time and energy never get quietly lost to needless waiting around. Third, giving and receiving with two hands. When a Korean hands you something, or accepts something from you, especially to or from someone older or more senior, they will often use both hands rather than one. It is a tiny physical gesture that signals respect, presence, and full attention all in a single smooth move. It costs absolutely nothing and takes no extra time, and yet it quietly makes the most ordinary daily exchanges feel considered and deliberate rather than careless and thrown away. Fourth, you pour for others, never for yourself. At a Korean table, you keep a quiet eye on your companion's cups and refill them when they run low, and they in turn watch and refill yours. Nobody simply serves themselves alone. It transforms drinking together from a private act into a constant, gentle loop of paying attention to the people sitting around you. The simple rule quietly enforces generosity and awareness, making sure that at any table, everyone is being looked after by someone else. Fifth, fermented food at nearly every meal. Kimchi and other fermented dishes appear at almost every Korean meal, delivering a steady, daily stream of beneficial bacteria straight to the gut. It is one of the genuine reasons traditional Korean eating is so closely studied for its long-term health effects. A humble habit that simply tastes like a sharp, satisfying side dish is quietly doubling, every single day, as a kind of low-key preventive medicine, working away in the background long after the meal is over. Sixth, sunscreen and skincare as plain routine, not vanity. Koreans broadly treat protecting and caring for their skin as basic, non-negotiable daily maintenance, much like brushing your teeth, rather than as fussy indulgence. Daily sun protection alone quietly prevents an enormous amount of long-term skin damage and premature aging over the decades. What can look from the outside like a national beauty obsession is, underneath the surface, a patient and remarkably effective long game played for the sake of lasting health. Seventh, living close to the warm floor. Because Korean floors are heated from below, daily life often naturally happens lower down, sitting, eating, talking, and relaxing close to that gentle, rising warmth. It keeps you grounded and physically flexible, saves a surprising amount of space in small homes, and wraps the whole of daily life in soft, even heat through the long cold months. The home is quietly built around comfort radiating up from the ground, rather than blasting down from a noisy vent overhead. Eighth, sharing the meal from the middle. Korean dining is deeply communal, with shared dishes sitting in the center of the table and everyone reaching in together. It naturally slows the pace of eating, gently encourages variety over a single heavy plate, and turns every single meal into a shared social event rather than a row of separate, isolated portions. Food quietly becomes a daily reason to sit down and be together with other people, not just fuel to be silently consumed side by side. Ninth, keeping quiet in shared space. On Korean subways and buses, people generally keep their phone calls short and their voices low, almost instinctively. The result is a strikingly calm, almost peaceful commute, even when the carriage is packed shoulder to shoulder at rush hour. It is an unspoken, mutual agreement that shared public space genuinely belongs to everyone in it, and that each person's small slice of quiet and calm is something quietly worth protecting for the sake of all the others. 10th, sorting waste with real, patient care. Koreans separate their household trash meticulously: food waste, recycling, and general rubbish, each carefully going into its own designated place. It can feel strict and fiddly to a newcomer at first, but over time it builds a constant, low-level awareness of exactly what you consume and what you throw away each day. The habit quietly makes your own waste visible and real to you, instead of letting it conveniently vanish, forgotten, into a single careless bag by the door. 11th, the little free extra, known as service. Shop owners and restaurant staff will often quietly add something for free: an extra side dish, a small gift tucked into the bag, a little bonus, simply as a genuine gesture of goodwill toward you. It flows from a deep cultural value of warmth and human feeling, sometimes called jong, the quiet bonds between people. These tiny, unearned, unexpected kindnesses steadily add up, day after day, into an ordinary daily life that simply feels a little more generous and human. 12th, heading up into the mountains. Hiking is close to a genuine national pastime in Korea, and on weekends people of every single age fill the trails, from young couples to spry retirees. With green mountains threaded right through even the biggest, densest cities, regular, vigorous movement out in nature is quietly built into the rhythm of normal life. It is one of the unspoken reasons so many Koreans stay active, mobile, and strongly connected to the outdoors well into their later years. 13th, the bow. A small, simple bow can gracefully handle a greeting, a heartfelt thanks, or a sincere apology, all without a single word and without any physical contact at all. It is fast, respectful, naturally hygienic, and it works perfectly at any distance across a crowded room. In one quiet, economical motion, it does the social work that elsewhere takes a handshake, a hug, and an awkward shuffling pause all clumsily stitched together, and it leaves everyone involved feeling acknowledged. Look at all 13 of these together, and the striking thing is that not one of them is grand or dramatic. Taking off your shoes, pouring a drink for a friend, a daily side dish of kimchi, a small bow, a quiet train carriage, taken on its own. Each one seems almost too small and ordinary to possibly matter. But that is exactly the entire point. These habits work precisely because they repeat every single day, thousands upon thousands of times, until they slowly shape an entire way of living that is cleaner, healthier, calmer, and noticeably kinder, all without anyone ever having to consciously think about it. That is the real, quiet genius here. Not one single great invention, but 1,000 tiny ones folded so deeply into ordinary life that they finally disappear from view entirely. And maybe that is the single most useful thing Korea can teach the rest of us, that the true quality of a life is built far less from the handful of big, dramatic decisions, and far more from the small, humble things we quietly choose to do, over and over and over again.